Colts where they beat us up and they kind of beat us up in a way that, those kind of tough coaches that love to run and stop the run hate getting beat. They hate getting their, the run, the ball smashed down their throats for 4 quarters like that was that night. So it's going to be just interesting to watch, and I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on it. And I'm glad that, we're not ready to jump off the ledge. Nobody's getting ready to fire him or anything like that. But we've got to talk about the 13 seconds so we can move forward. And I'm going to be keeping my eye on him in the future because of the fact that I thought that some of the things that I thought of him beforehand cropped up in these 13 seconds. Let's talk about it a little bit. The name of this podcast episode tonight is 3 Decisions and 13 Seconds. And obviously everybody, 13 seconds will live on in Buffalo lore forever. No goal 2, wide right, Music City Miracle, the home run throwback. So it's all in there and it's baked into that. This is going to stick with us for a long time. We'll start with decision 1. I'm going to be completely transparent with you, DT. I didn't even think about the kickoff, to be honest, because there was 13 seconds left, and I thought about the fact that we're getting ready to win the game and go to the AC Championship game. So I was literally stuck in euphoria. I didn't even think about it.
I agree. Myself was not on the kickoff. We'll break it down here, but I agree. I didn't even think about it.
I missed it, and I missed it, and it to be honest with you, it's obviously a smart play. We even saw yesterday in the AFC Championship game, that Cincinnati tried the same thing, and they actually did it. They're swimming it down there. So listen, I'm not hung up on it. We've got to keep it fair. If we do squib kick it, a lot of things can go wrong. We don't need to be told that as Buffalo Bills fans, Music City Miracle. We know that things can go wrong. However, having said that, it would have been nice to take a little bit of time off the clock. The 13 seconds, the clock's your friend, and it's the enemy, obviously, of Kansas City in that situation. So to kick off a few seconds and tick off a few seconds down there, obviously would have been the smart move. There's no way around it. It would have been the smart move to do it. What would have happened afterward, we don't know. So going forward and leaving that alone a little bit,
Well, do you think that was that's some other rumblings? Do you think that was the plan?
Oh no, I'll be honest with you. I think it's hogwash for anybody to suggest that Tyler Bass, a professional kicker, doesn't know how hard he's kicking the ball. So that's number one. He definitely meant to kick the ball through the end zone. Now whether he wasn't told by Heath Farwell or Sean McDermott or something.
It never got to Bass.
Yeah, and that's interesting, but that comes back to coaching, and a lot of this is going to be coming back. This episode is coming back to coaching, a lot of it. So, it comes down to Sean McDermott communicating properly to his staff and then getting the word out. But you're not going to get me to believe that the Tyler Bass professional kicker didn't know, didn't take off enough of the ball. You know what I mean?
That thing went through the back of the end zone.
It was in the end zone by 8 yards or something like that. So I mean, he meant to do it. Whether he was told not to do it or not is obviously a different debate. Now, being in business, and you're in business as well, you're a supervisor in your job as well, Adam. I can respect Sean McDermott not wanting to throw his guys under the bus. I do understand how that works, and that plays in the locker room, I'm sure, to the players as well, for them to kind of have him to have their back. Going forward to decision 2 and 3, it's hard. I'm going to be honest with you, and it's why it took me so long to get this episode out. After we did not squib the kick, Adam, we had a 95.9% chance to win the game, even after you didn't squib it, okay? As we sift into decision 2 and 3, I just screenshotted the other night. I'm going to post it on Instagram and just have it out there so everybody can look at it, not to rip open old wounds, but what were we doing on those 2 plays?
Yeah.
That's the real hard part for me to understand.
Yeah, let's break it down. First down, so touchback to the 25. First down. Now, again, I was caught up in a lot of this game, and I haven't brought myself to watch the highlights back. But what were they lined up defensively in first down before they called timeout?
I've got a screenshot of. Well, I don't know if it was before first down or not. I know that Kansas City called a timeout, which is the main point. Kansas City called a timeout. And then, we call the timeout after they lined up. So the point of that being is that there's no way, again, that you can't tell me that Tyler Bass didn't kick it as hard as he could have, you know what I mean? And he didn't mean to. He kicked it. And there's no way that you can't tell me that the players weren't lined up like Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier, one of them lined up. We've got this too high shell look where it's exaggerated. It's a prevent defense. I'm looking at it now, and these guys are
first down.
they're so far back. I mean, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer are almost off of the screen on my screenshot. They're almost off of the screen on first down. And the problem with this is that there's just so much space in the middle of the field. They're guarding the sidelines as if these guys needed a touchdown, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. They're trying to get in the field goal range. They've got 13 seconds left to do it, and you're giving them the entire middle of the field, and they have timeouts. So there's no reason for you to be defending the sideline when they can stop the clock after a catch anyway. It didn't make any sense.
That's literally fundamentals 101. You know that playing Madden,
Yeah.
If they got timeouts, the sideline doesn't mean anything, So especially with that less time in the game, that's why I was curious to see before they called the timeout if they went up and they were just lined up in this prevent look. They called the timeout and then just went right back out into this prevent look. That's what was getting me a little bit. If at least give them something else before you call the timeout, and then if you're going back to the prevent look on first down. I don't agree with it, but it's not detrimental, I think. Second down is where we get into some trouble.
Yeah. So first down, everybody remembers first down that, Tyreek Hill gets it and he runs, I think it was 19 yards, 18 yards right up the middle of the field, just plenty of space. Second down comes up, and then it's also a situation where I still don't know what we're doing. We've got Trey Edmonds way back behind the first down marker. We've got Levi Wallace kind of just sitting on the hash, on the outside of the hash, and he's covering no one. And then obviously it's infamous that Patrick Mahomes yells to Travis Kelce, do it, do it, do it. And for whatever reason, we don't pick up on that. Now, we don't know, obviously, what do it means. The defense doesn't know what do it means. But I do know that they were changing the play. And Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, the biggest weapons, you're not even putting a finger on them. And that seems like madness to me.
Yeah. Yeah, what?
I mean, it kind of leaves me speechless. Like, I don't know what we're doing.
You can't even see Poyer and Hyde in this picture.
Yeah, I know.
That's from line of scrimmage is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 yards.
That doesn't make any sense. It's almost as if they didn't know the situation, which, again, I'm trying to give these guys credit. They knew the score. Some people had suggested last week on the radio that maybe they didn't know the score, something like that. I mean, come on. There's scoreboards throughout the stadium. There's guys up in the booth. There's no way you're going to convince me of a few things. That you're not going to convince me that they didn't know the time of the game and the score. They had to know the score. They had to know that Kansas City had timeouts. It's just the way that they played it. There had to be some type of miscommunication. Now, I heard that, maybe I think that's Tyler Dunn. Go long TD, and he's got Isaiah McKenzie on each week, and I guess Isaiah goes into it a little bit. Now, I'm not a subscriber, so I don't have access to that recording of their conversation, but I guess Isaiah was talking about basically that there was just miscommunication. Miscommunication to me means that it's 13 seconds away from an AFC championship berth, your second one in as many years, and you guys are frazzled. Either you're not ready, either you're discombobulated. And for a guy like Sean McDermott, who keeps everything so buttoned up, I have a hard time believing, again, that he didn't know what was going on and that he wasn't able to communicate it. So if he couldn't communicate it properly, then that's a different problem. And I don't really know where to lay the blame.
After taking 2 timeouts.
And the timeouts really bother me because of the fact, Adam, is that if you took a timeout, you were over on the sideline. You're talking about it. Hey guys, what are we?
You called a timeout for a reason. Said, all right, they're lined up here. Let's call a timeout. Listen, this is what we're gonna do, and they just go out into the same deal.
But what was that? What the hell is that defense? I don't even understand what that defense is.
And then if that is what you're gonna do, if that was what Sean McDermott says, we're doing this. Safeties 35 yards back, linebackers 15. Everything. If this was correct. If this is what they were supposed to do, why are there 4 guys rushing the quarterback? Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all, and you're absolutely right. I thought about the rush.
A quarterback that they didn't touch the entire game, rushing on him, and they think what are they going to do with 4 guys at the end of the game?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Now, when you're playing the defense that they were playing, obviously it makes it more advantageous for Kansas City to use the middle of the field. They did that, obviously, on that seam route to Kelce. He's running free. Now, one of the things that were talked about last week, and I heard a lot of people talking about it, and I wanted to touch on it as well, was, again, back to coaching. Sean McDermott had said in his end-of-the-year press conference, or I think it might have been after the game, that they had, somebody asked, hey, did you guys talk about it, Coach? Did you guys talk about possibly tackling these guys. For those of you who don't know the rules have changed because the Baltimore Ravens caused them to change the rules a few years ago, but you could tackle these guys for one play, okay? It's one play. It'll be a penalty, obviously. It's still assessed a 5-yard penalty. It'll be for automatic first down, which is fine. So if you do that on the first play with Hill, then it's obviously 1st and 10 from the 30 instead of the 25. And if you did it on the Kelsey play, same thing. However, if the second time that you do it, you'll be assessed a 15-yard penalty on that for unsportsmanlike conduct. Why don't you just go ahead and get it out of the way and tackle these guys because of the fact that, again, the clock's our friend. We've got 13 seconds remaining in this game, 13 seconds away from an AFC championship berth, and I just don't get it. They said that they talked about it. Well, if you talked about it, why didn't you? Who in the huddle said that wasn't a great idea? Because that sounds like a great idea to me.
They talked about it, took a timeout, talked about it, took another timeout, talked about it. I mean, it's not like they were just thrust out there, no timeouts, made a mistake getting lined up because there was no time. They had 3 meetings
on the sideline about it. Absolutely. I know, and that's why I had to wait to get this episode out, and I'm glad that we're able to fly through this right now. So we're almost done with it, and then we can get over to fun stuff in the future as well. But listen, to be honest, we've got to talk about it. We've got to get it off of our chest, and I'm really happy that you're joining with me, DT, tonight, because I was really having a tough time with this episode. Now, my logic and the only thing I can possibly think of to defend McDermott, defend the coaching staff on the 13 seconds. A couple possessions before, everybody remembers Tyreek Hill catches that crossing route and then he literally runs away. His nickname is the Cheetah, and for good measure. He ran away from Poyer. He ran away from Edmonds. He ran away from everybody. Then he literally chucks up the deuces to Matt Milano at the 15-yard line. How fast do you have to be to know that at the 15, you're not going to touch me, you're not catching me, I'm in the end zone? So my only defense, and that's not even a defense, my only explanation for what happened is that Sean McDermott was terrified of Tyreek Hill's speed, and he froze in that moment and said, hey, let's go prevent, let's just keep everything in front of us. And again, it still doesn't make sense because they gave so much yardage, so much space, so much room that, again, they didn't need a touchdown. They just needed to tie the game to force overtime. So it doesn't even line up. It still is hard to compute, but maybe he was guarding against a touchdown for some reason. And I that's all I can come up with is that he was definitely scared of Hill.
The breakdown there, right? The last Chiefs touchdown before in regulation. To force it with like a minute 40 or something like that. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was right across the middle, and they had coverage there. They had people covering him, and he literally just ran away from him. Worst case scenario, and that goes back. I mean, go all the way back to last year regular season game in Buffalo. That BS.
The
like Wednesday or Tuesday night. COVID rescheduled it. And they basically did that the entire game. Put everything in front of them, didn't let them get ahead, and they ran all over them. Obviously, and they still had a chance to win at the end, but besides the point. But and then last year in the AFC title game, similar, but not. It kind of got off the trails early and didn't have a chance. The regular season this year, I thought. That was the hope. That was the hope that we weren't just going to kind of be back in, prevent against this team. We can get up and play with them and kind of punch them in the mouth a little bit. And, it just went. It felt like they took a step back again. When they go into the stadium and for the whole game, I mean, they didn't stop anything. So
I mean, and Sean McDermott again, like he's been leaving us tea leaves. Like I said, I feel like he's been leaving us little breadcrumbs for his entire regime because of the fact, again, AFC Championship game last year had me so furious with his explanation. Remember, Bills fans, he kicked twice, not once. He kicked field goals twice to go down from 12 to 9. And when they asked him after the game what his reasoning was, he said, well, the one before the half, I wanted to kick it because I wanted everyone to feel better. I wanted my guys to get some points on the board. You're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the most potent offenses that we've seen in recent history. 3 points is not going to make a difference against that team. You've got to go for touchdowns against that team. And everybody knows that. Everybody that goes up against the Chiefs knows that you've got to score touchdowns to keep up with Pat Mahomes in that offense. And his explanation was that, hey, I wanted my guys to see some points go on the board. And